Hello everyone and welcome to my channel once again. So I'm finally bringing you the part 2 of my Poison Ivy build for Season 2, the strongest T100 and now Uber boss build guide in the game for Poison Rogue. Why would you even want to play pure Uber boss build? Well, the short answer is yeah, there's no real reason apart from maybe trying some world records. Killing her with 2 ticks of our damage over time effect, killing her in like 2 seconds each season, stuff like that. Or when you are carrying other people in the run, because Uber bosses, not just UBER Lilith, of course, get more HP. So doing that extra damage can and is helpful. At the end of this video, there is a gameplay of me at level 88, instant killing UBER Lilith. What I mean by instant killing is that she doesn't even use any of her mechanics. We do so much damage that we skip all of it before we even stagger her, because yeah, the damage is so high we can't even reach stagger. So a lot of the stats changed. We are no longer using frigid finesse, etc. I'll explain all of that in the build, so let's get right into it, starting with the Paragon board. So the first board is, well, the starter board. We can't really make a pick here. So we take all of the all damage nodes we can get around here, using Versatility Glyph to boost those all damage nodes even further, plus of course the 15% multiplicative damage increase to our non-basic and non-core skills. So it boosts our damage over time effects. Then we go up for Tricks of the Trade board, taking all of the damage to elites we can get here, as well as all the easily accessible strength nodes, because we are using turf for more damage to close enemies, which, well, Lilith or any of the bosses are at all times. Taking, as I said, all of the easily accessible strength nodes, going up, taking damage to close enemies, again more than 40% damage to close enemies just from these nodes. Then we are going to the right, where we are using Exploit Weakness. Exploit Weakness is the best board for control glyph, because it's so damn easy to go for more than 140% damage to crowd controlled enemies. Like almost all of the nodes around here are intelligence, so it's super easy. We also take vulnerable damage. Lilith is vulnerable at all times, so it's a great additive to fight against her or against all the bosses. And we also take Exploit Weakness, another multiplicative damage increase while in single target fight. Then we go down, using no witness board as always, putting Bane in this board because it's the best board for strength nodes. We can go up to 54 strength, maxing out on Bane in this board, plus of course taking all of the all damage nodes we can get as well. Then we go back to Tricks of the Trade and we go up, where we use Cheap Shot board. Cheap Shot board, I'd say, self-explanatory. It's the board with the most with the highest amount of nodes for damage to crowd controlled enemies. So we take all of those nodes, of course, and using Efficiency Glyph to boost the damage to crowd controlled enemies, legendary or rare node even further. Again, going up, taking all of the damage to crowd controlled enemies we can get. And to the right for our last board, which is Eldritch Bounty, where we are using the glyph Kenny. Kenny, once again, one of the best mandatory glyphs in single target or like in poison builds in general, because of the multiplicative damage increase plus the additive non-physical damage increase, which is pretty much all of our damage, because we are always in bursting venoms using only non-physical damage. So we are taking all of the easily accessible intelligence nodes around here as well. Once again, 39 intelligence around. Then we go up, taking all of the non-physical damage nodes we can get, and getting, of course, the legendary node Eldritch Bounty, increasing our imbuement damage even further. So we are no longer using 7 boards, we are going for 6 boards, and totally min-maxing in those. This is like the highest damage you can ever get. Then looking at the skill tree, there were some changes here as well. This stays the same. Obviously, puncture, enhanced puncture, fundamental puncture as our basic. 5 points in Twisting Blades, Enhanced Twisting Blades, and Improved Twisting Blades. To be honest, Enhanced Twisting Blades, nah, we can use Advanced Twisting Blades, but it doesn't really matter, it doesn't do anything, and we can't stagger her, so, to be honest, we don't even need this point. Like, at this point, we don't need this point. But it's whatever. We don't need any of the DRs, we don't need any of the healing, like, it's useless, you know. 1 point in Shadow Step, 1 point in Enhanced Shadow Step for the increased crit strike chance, but we no longer need methodical Shadow Step because we cannot stagger her. We do so much damage, we will never stagger her, so we don't need that point either. 3 points into Weapon Mastery just to get the 30%, yes, it's 30%, multiplicative damage increase against healthy enemies, helping our Twisting Blades do more damage. So that's also really good. That also helps us burn her first quarter of her life sooner, so that she skips the mechanics. So that's like extremely useful, and yeah, it just has to be there. If you like, that's one of the best ways to skip the mechanics, to just, you know, burn the first core of her HP down within half a second. So we get that, then we go down, taking Poison Trap, Enhanced Poison Trap, and Subverting Poison Trap for even more poison damage. 3 points into Exploit, 3 points into Malice for more damage. I am not taking Dark Shroud, which some of you like might be surprised, like why not? It's because it simply does not fit in our gear, or like it would, but it's way better to use Explosive Verve Aspect that I'll get to, and saving the 3 points over taking Dark Shroud and either countering Dark Shroud or subverting Dark Shroud to make use of Ravenous Power. So these 3 points, way better to be put into Weapon Mastery. Okay, that's where I put them. Then we go down, taking 3 points in Precision Imbuement. We are always only having imbued skills, so we have increased crit strike chance there. 1 point in Shadow Step, Enhanced Shadow Step, and Mixed Shadow Imbuement for another multiplicative damage increase to our non-physical damage that works for our damage over time effect as well. 5 points into Poison Imbuement, Enhanced Poison Imbuement, and Blended Poison Imbuement. 3 points into Deadly Venom, and I put 1 point into Alchemical Knowledge. As you can see, we no longer are using Frigid Finesse. We just cannot stagger her. We do so much damage, it's literally impossible to stagger bosses anymore. We simply kill them before we can reach the stagger, so we are not using that anymore. We go down, taking 3 points in Innervation, Alchemist Fortune, Second Wind, because Lucky Hit Chance is one of the most important, if not the most important stat in Poison Rogue builds, and of course Innervation to get the energy back. Trap Mastery for increased crit strike chance against vulnerable enemies, which, well, bosses are at all times. 1 point in Adrenaline Rush, and Haste. Haste, again, it gives us movement speed, which gives us attack speed. Then when we are below 50% energy, it gives us attack speed, so it's a win-win situation there at all times. And Close Quarters Combat. This like, it's so busted this season. No other skill passives exist in the game because it gives us multiplicative damage increase based on our damage to crowd controlled enemies. So this is yeah, this is the best thing. This is the best thing, and we are maximizing out on that 170%, 72% actually multiplicative damage increase when close quarters combat is up, and well, it is up at all times. Plus, of course, the attack speed. We love attack speed. Now, when we look at the gear, normal helmet, and now you might be like, what? Why? What? Why normal helmet? Like, we have so many uniques. We don't need them. All of them are a DPS loss. If you are going for pure damage, just pure damage to Uber bosses, you go for a normal helmet. 4 ranks of poison imbuement, basic skill attack speed to help us proc our pestilent points faster, cooldown reduction, and dexterity with explosive verve aspect. Like, most people never even heard about this aspect, but what it does is that our trap give us 18% increased movement speed, okay? And this increased movement speed turns into attack speed thanks to Ravenous, so it's extremely potent. Then our chest, poison damage, imbuement skill damage, all damage, and dexterity with Exploiter's aspect. Exploiter's aspect, again, one of the strongest aspects you can get in single target, even in PvP, because everyone is unstoppable. All the bosses are always unstoppable. We just do, once again, so much damage, we cannot stagger them. So by using this aspect, we do even more damage to them, you know, at all times. Then, normal gloves. Again, a lot of people would be wondering, like, bro, what? Where are Fists of Fate? Well, we don't need Fists of Fate because once again we are not staggering her. So taking lucky hit chance, crit strike chance, 4 ranks of twisting blades, and attack speed gives us so much more damage. Plus the aspect here is bursting venoms. That's how we have our poison imbuement up at all times. For the pens, we are using Thibault's Will, not to use the bug, not to use the exploit. This is a no exploit build, but it is because they give us flat damage increase, which is once again double dip additive for our damage over time effect. Plus they give us the increased damage while unstoppable and for 4 seconds after, and primary resource. So like it's so strong. Like, these pens are the best thing you can get against the bosses, because normally pens don't really give us damage, which is what we want, what we really want. We don't need any of the DRs. Like, the bosses can't kill us ever because, well, we skip the mechanics, right? So that's what we use for our pens. Then we use Penitent Greaves. You could really use any other boots here as well, because once again she never Lilith or Duriel, they never get staggered, so any other boots work as well. But still they give us movement speed, which turns into attack speed, so that's pretty good. For our two-hander, damage to crowd controlled enemies, damage to close enemies, all stats, dexterity, and the aspect here is corruption aspect because it increases the potency of our imbuement skills by 80%. I don't know why max roll doesn't double the effect when it's used on a two-hander, but we all know that it's gonna become 80%. Then for our amulet, ranks of all imbuments, flat damage, can be also flat damage after dodge, but like, the bosses don't really attack us much, so it is a damage loss. But if you have it, it works, so you're fine there as well. Plus all dexterity works as well. It's just a tiny bit weaker than just flat damage. 3 ranks of exploit, or 3 ranks of malice, or 3 ranks of deadly venom. All of those work. all of those work, with exploit being the strongest, once again helping us literally like burn away in a millisecond the first quarter of Lilith's HP, so she cannot use her mechanics. So definitely Ranks of Exploit is my recommendation, but Malice and Deadly Venom work as well, plus energy cost reduction, and the aspect here is accelerating attack speed. We love attack speed. It helps us proc more bursting venoms thanks to more pestilent points. It helps us get more energy from innervation passive. So yeah, attack speed, we love it, we want it. For our ring, damage to crowd controlled enemies, resource generation, lucky hit chance, crit strike chance, and pestilent points aspect to help us proc bursting venoms. And the second ring is X4 Signet. It's such a strong ring. There, like, you pretty much cannot play Poison Rogue without it. Like, it's exploding for so much damage thanks to actually being modified by our stats that it's a no-brainer. You just get this for any kind of damage over time build, not just Rogue. It's just mwah. Then for our weapon, we take daggers, obviously, because crit strike damage doesn't do much for us, and we are always in close combat, so damage to close enemies is incredibly valuable. So damage to crowd controlled enemies, damage to close enemies, all stats and dexterity are the affixes, with Blade Dancers being our aspect here. Again, a must-have aspect for any kind of Twisting Blades build, especially for Poison Imbuement, because the Orbiting Blades do 100% of the damage of the Twisting Blades. So that helps us do more poison damage, more damage over time. And our second weapon, Ashira's Conjure, again, gives us attack speed. Attack speed is great, we love it, we want it, but most of all it gives us lucky hit chance. You can easily replace Ashira's Conjure with a normal dagger with the same affixes as this one, and simply slot in the aspect that I forgot the name of, aspect of Inner Calm. So you would use the same kind of dagger with aspect of Inner Calm, so that when you stand still, we deal up to 30% multiplicatively more damage, which works for our damage over time as well. So you can use that. As you can see, I'm recommending Ashira's Conjure, not Condemnation, because this is a no exploit, no bug build. And lastly, our Vampiric Powers, Flowing Veins for more damage over time. Obviously, we need that. Accursed Touch, because it's way easier to apply Vampiric Curse with Accursed Touch than it is with Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is kinda clunky. The animation makes you stop doing damage. Plus, it has like a slight delay. Like when you arrive, you cannot like immediately move. You cannot like immediately attack. There's a slight delay. So always use Accursed Touch. Hectic, with all of the attack speed that we have, helps us have pretty much no cooldowns. That's how we can have almost 100% uptime on the crit strike chance bonus from our poison trap, etc. So Hectic, extremely powerful Vampiric power. Prey on the Weak, because we do more damage to vulnerable enemies and bosses are vulnerable at all times. And of course, Ravenous, giving us attack speed, because we are not using movement speed on the amulet. The gain is not as high for Ravenous, so that's why we are using Statfast, to make up for the loss of movement speed on our amulet and squeeze out all of the attack speed that we can from Ravenous. So that's it for the build. Now you can have a look at the gameplay. Okay, baby, so today we're gonna kill UBER Lilith at level 88, no bugs or exploits needed. No elixir needed, nothing. Just the UBER Lilith Monster Slayer build. Let's go! Goodbye! Easy. Too damn easy. Okay. We do this to reset our cooldowns, put down traps, reset some more of our cooldowns so we can put down more traps. And one more, baby. One more trap.
I'm not ready yet.
And look, she's gonna disappear. Like the poor like the poor Lilith cannot even use her abilities this time around, not due to stagger, but due to taking so much damage. She just flies off. She's scared. She's like scared shitless, baby.
Out of energy.
Dee dee dee. I was sleeping. I fell asleep. I was like, It's just too easy. I can't keep my focus when the game is this easy.
I need more time.
And she's dead. Like, yeah. I think they kinda they kinda undertuned her just to show you my gear and that I'm not using the Tybalt's Will plus Condemnation bug. My helmet, Call of the Nameless, garbage against Uber Lilith. My chest, you know, some DRs, Aspect of Might, again, garbage against Uber bosses. We don't need any of it against her. My gloves are really good. Attack speed, crit strike chance, lucky hit chance, and twisting blades. So that's good. Tybalt's Will. Now everybody might be like, oh, so you are using the bug, but I am not, because without Condemnation, you cannot get the 21 or whatever amount of combo points, because you would have to actually attack her 21 times, which doesn't happen because 2 to 3 attacks is enough for us to get enough energy to use Twisting Blades based on our luck with resource generation on our items and energy cost reduction and stuff like that. So these spells are used because simply, well, they give us damage, right? They give us not only flat damage, which is a really good additive stat for us, they also have the secondary effect of damage when we are unstoppable. So that's really good. Then Penitent Greaves, I have a really good role here, so that's nice. My two-hander, you could say absolute garbage again, no damage to crowd controlled enemies, so my close quarters combat is bad. You know, damage to dazed enemies, useless again, you know, does not proc at all. My amulet, yes, I cannot even upgrade it further because I don't have the materials for it. You know, flat damage, that's good, that's really good. Flat damage against Lilith. Total armor, not needed against Lilith, obviously. All imbuements really good. Exploit, superb this season as well. Then the ring, crit strike chance, damage over time, extremely low rolls, damage to crowd controlled enemies, that's good, and lucky hit chance, that's good as well, even like with good rolls. X falls, that's like mandatory for any poison build against one of the lowest roll on the damage part, one of the lowest rolls on the damage over time, not really good lucky hit chance roll, so not good gear at all. And as you could have seen, she disappeared. She couldn't even use her mechanics, so nothing to avoid. Again, my dagger, absolute garbage. Damage to injured, damage to dazed, core skill damage, damage over time. Like, damage over time is good. Damage to injured we can use against Lilith as well. And core skill damage, even though it doesn't boost our damage over time, it boosts the damage of our Twisting Blade. So, like, yeah, sure, whatever. But, like, yeah, most of my items are, like, 0 out of 4, 1 out of 4, something like that. And then Ashira's Conjure. Again, low roll on damage to crowd controlled enemies. Good lucky hit chance roll, though. And, you know, the attack speed on it sucks. The item power sucks. So, yeah, my gear is really, really bad. Like, as you could have seen in the builder, what's supposed to be the best in slot, with which you can kill her literally in like 2 hits of Twisting Blades, and she will disappear from the screen. I'm actually so excited to actually get the gear and do like, you know, the fastest Lilith kills in the world, stuff like that. It's also superb build for carrying other people, because obviously then the monster gets more health, etc. So if you can kill it with like a few attacks in, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds or something like that, then it's really, really good for carrying others as well. So yeah, this was the showcase of the build from the guide. Super easy. You don't have to play any mechanics, and you don't, like, as you can see, you don't even need the build from the planner. And I'm level 88, so I am missing out on what, 12 multiplied by 4, but I'm almost 89 now. So it's like 40 something points, 40 something Paragon points. I don't even have corrupting aspect. It hasn't dropped for me yet. It's just that. So like, yeah, you can kill her with 2 attacks. You can kill her literally with 2 attacks. And I'm gonna prove that to you once I actually have time to level up, and once I can actually get the gear and fight her with the gear for an absolute min max of the damage. So thanks for watching. See ya in the next one.